Glad I spotted your ship coming into port. The officers are born bureaucrats and sticklers for detail. In any case, you may relax and take a moment to get your land legs back. Horse chestnut weapon coffer. 515 item level. Need that. Crowd sweeps the signs with speculative look. More gear. I don't need. I had thought to launch directly into explanation of what I've learned and how we might proceed. I can't read fast, but this is Zeno and Estinian's first time in Sharlayan. For the rest of you, a homecoming that was long overdue. You must have places you wish to visit and people you're dying to see. Therefore, I propose we postpone our agenda so that you may have sufficient time to recover from your journey and get your bearings in the city. Once you've settled in, we can reconvene at the Baldessian Annex. Oh God, how does that sound? Just a fine suggestion. You may not be welcomed at the Levier estate as such, but should like to nose around the neighborhood all the same. I'm equally untethered, as it were. There's no particular place that my kin call home. Still, I would not pass up the opportunity to reacquaint myself with the city. Likewise, a quick tour of our old haunts might even yield some useful gossip. The annex was west of the 8th Right Plaza, wasn't it? I shall join you there, anon. Yes, we'll see you there. The music is so good. God damn. Have places I would be remiss in not visiting forthwith by that leave. Dang. I wish there was more voice acting, so I don't have to stumble over my words reading all this. What of you, Estinian? My services as a guide are yours for the asking. That won't be necessary. Until we reconvene, I prefer to wander as the wind takes me. But I could. Oh. Well, Raha. Raha? It's a nickname now. Well, Raha, would you like to join us then? You've been gone for quite a while. This would be the perfect way to refresh those dusty old memories of yours. Of course, if you will have me. Yes, Raha. Come, Zeno. Sharlayan awaits. After you, my friend, I am more than content to follow your lead. Grahatia is now accompanying you. Keep him at your side in order to proceed with quest objectives. You can leave Grahatia behind by entering a different area using the Ethernet, putting too much distance between you. You can also speak to Grahatia and select the option to part ways. If you wish to have Grahatia accompany you again, you return to speak with him at the original location. While Grahatia is accompanying you, next try speaking with him. He's just following me around. Oh snap! It's like the olden days where my party would just follow me around. Let's go, Raha. I'm taking you for a walk. Dang. What do you have to say, Raha? Not forget Miss Cryle, our worthy guide. Yeah. All set? Then let us be on our way. First stop, amusingly enough, will be the last stand. It's a cafe on the west side of the harbor. Cryle is now accompanying you. Lead your two companions to the last stand and speak with Cryle at the designated location. While you accompanied, you may encounter conversation points along the way which offer additional topics of discussion. Enjoy the glowing area and speak with your quest companions to initiate these bonus conversations. Enjoy exploring the surroundings together. I like that a lot. Discuss the giant statue of the harbor. Are they going to talk about the plumbing of the statue that everyone talks about? And that is at the site one could hardly forget, the great statue of Dalit. As a student of Baldessian, I was usually quartered on the Isle of Val, but I would gaze upon the scholar's wise features every time I returned by ship to the city. Discuss the statue. This path leading out towards the sea is known as the Dalek Stoa, so named for the statue of the scholar which stands at its end. As you know, the Sharlayan people prize the accumulation of wisdom above all else. Thus when Dalek was chosen as our patron deity, it was more a matter of pragmatism than belief, alignment of principles as it were. We may have honored him with a rather impressive sculpture, yes, but our faith is not so restrictive as that of, say, the Ishgarians. Individual Sharlayans can and do worship the divinities of their choosing. Here we are, last stand. I may have mentioned this before, but although our research into nutrition and food preparation is quite extensive, the average Sharlayan tends to regard seasoning and flavor with certain indifference. Yes, Archon. How can I put this? The food is it's bland. Encapsulated by our infamous Archon loaf, the prevailing sentiment towards cuisine is dietary value first and taste a distant second. There's one people at Studium, however, who could stomach the school's insipid meals no longer, so he quit his lessons and poured all his savings into building a proper eatery. And so the last stand came to be. It is, as the name implies, the sole dedicated outpost of the fine dining in Sharlayan, the one and only bastion of culinary art in an isle of otherwise mediocre fare. I seem to recall their burger being hailed as one of the most impressive items on the menu. Not that I ever had the pleasure of eating one myself, because you were a typical Sharlayan when it came to cheap and convenient, raha. But surely, the Taru has since taught you how to appreciate a well-prepared dish. We should all stop in one time from Ritz and sample the cafe's delights. Should we press on the stairs outside the cafe will take us up to the Aetherite Plaza. An unusual shape, isn't it? I didn't get to look at it really. I assure you, however, that it's perfectly functioning Aetherite. Remember to tune yourself before we move on. And begin diligent tour guide that I am, I can make mention of the Confluence, a research facility located on this very plaza. As much vaunted discovery is the reason Sharlayan stands at the forefront of teleportation technology. Confluence. Segue the underlying principles of elegant Aetherites that allowed us to understand and reconstruct what was essentially a lost art. Off we go to our next destination, the path leads southeast to the Agora, Sharlayan's largest marketplace. Welcome to the Agora, where you can find wares made in Sharlayan, as well as a wide selection of imported goods. We also use the questionable prototypes from various research institutes, but I think that practice has truthfully died out for the most part. Otherwise, I can think of no better place to stock up for your next big adventure. Dang, am I overselling it? On a more serious note, the next stop on our tour is one which has particular relevance to our ultimate purpose here. We must head back to the Aetherite Plaza, follow the path north, then climb the stairs up to the imposing building at the very top. This grand structure before you is a rostra. The name refers to the original public platform erected here, upon which a forum of elected representatives would deliver orations and debate policy. Although the stage has since evolved into council chamber, the nature of the forum and the duties of its members remain largely unchanged. Am I boring you, Raha? You seem awfully distracted. Apologies. From here, one can see the entire city spread out below. The vista put me in mind of my arrival in the first. Those who have gathered at the Crystal Tower asked me how they might go about building a new home. Naturally, my answers were all inspired by the knowledge of the finest settlement I could think of, the great city of Sharlayan. Oh God. Bit by bit, those few buildings grew into a town, a community, the Crystarium. I can almost see its echo. I see. Feel free to come up here whenever you wish. I don't think the counselors would object to you simply enjoying the view. Such memories should be treasured. Now, however, the tour must go on. Our spectacle of sightseeing concludes with a fittingly named Journey's End. Walk down the stairs to the east and continue straight ahead. Arrived at Journey's End, history tells us that there was where those who put ashore with Archon Nyan Krempf built their first homes. Why is your name so complicated? In the present day, it serves as the residential district for the most important officials and the oldest Sharlayan families. You'll see that one mansion is clearly larger than its neighbors. That estate belongs to our friends from House Levier. All things considered, we should probably keep our distance for the time being. With that, we bring our little Sharlayan tour to a close. I hope it was proven to be entertaining and enlightening experience. Now, shall we head directly to Baldesion Annex? You remember the way, don't you, Raha? Let me think. We head down towards the harbor, cross the bridge to our right, and follow the path below the Aetherite Plaza. Correct. After using them. Where's House Levier? Is it this one? It's gotta be this one. Dang. As the joyous look on Ra's face has undoubtedly informed you this is the Baldesion Annex. If you continue uphill, you'll arrive on the doorstep of Phenomenon. But I think we explored enough for one day. We can take you there another time. The doorstep of Phenomenon? That's not a dungeon or something. It was a missed opportunity. Because that sounds amazing. I'm back. I brought Zeno and Raha with me. I really like this little music piece. Right about the ship then. Hello, Raha. It's nice to see you again. It's a pleasure to finally meet you, Zeno. Friend of many a tale of your exploits. Ochika. Sunjika. I hope that's right. It has been an age. Allow me to introduce Ochika Sunjika, Administration Officer for the students of Baldesion. He oversees the day-to-day business of the Annex. We recall his meeting his cousin Echika. Oh yes, Eureka. Over the initial reports, quite a shock to hear what became of the Isle. You take care if you have an opportunity to rejoin the expedition. I didn't do Eureka. I went for like 3 levels and then I left. So I don't know. I don't remember this character. This place is like a second home for the students. The Isle of Val served as our main headquarters, of course. We often had occasion to visit Sharlayan. Whether to make the use of the city's research facilities, attend conferences, or procure supplies from distant shores. And the annex here was built to provide lodgings for our members while we engaged in such activities. Ever since our former headquarters, along with the Isle itself, vanished, the annex has served as our base of operations. And yet it feels so empty. It's only lost to us. Our organization is shell of its former self. The day will come when we will see the students rise again. But first, we must ensure that the Talafarai fall. Through the door on the left there is the main hall, where we discuss our options moving forward. Once everyone arrives, that is, you probably have time to rest before our discussions begin in earnest. I've had private quarters prepared for you in the Andrew, so please feel free to make yourself at home. Ah, the nap room's perfect for an afternoon doze. Oh, I didn't mean to give you the wrong impression. The chambers are quite well appointed. Far more so than the cheap roadside inn, you may be assured. So simply that we are often so busy with research or exhausted from journeys abroad, they would slip into the Adrian just to steal a few winks. And thus they became known amongst the students as nap rooms, even as much such naps may well into the following morning. Say the word, and I'll be happy to show you to your chamber. Hopefully the others won't be too long in coming. I'll wait for you all in the main hall. Cutscene time.
Pray forgive me. I was delayed.
It's fine, Urianger. We're all here now.
Let's get down to business then, shall we? Come what may, we must prevent the Telophoroi's plans from coming to fruition. At present, I see two paths for gathering the information which may aid us in achieving that goal. The first involves an investigation into the change which has come over Sharlayan, not to mention the recent inscrutable behavior of the Forum. As most of you know, the 99 members of the Forum are elected from the general populace. This alone guarantees a plethora of opinion with regards to foreign policy. The bibliotheques, for example, are a group of conservatives which would have Sharlayan focus on recording history, while remaining entirely uninvolved in the making of it. And at the other extreme, we have advocates for proactive diplomacy and direct intervention. My grandfather Galef was one such member, as was Archon Louisois.
Okay, so not everyone is of the mind.
Yet despite our diverse factions and philosophies, the recent vote to deny Eorzea's request for assistance was unanimous. Even more concerning was the fact that many cited other, more pressing duties as justification for their recalcitrance.
Fortuno's refusal in Gridania had those same undertones. 'Twas as if, having stared unblinking into the face of impending doom, he had simply turned away to pursue something more important. But what could that possibly be?
A mystery indeed, and one which I ask for your help to solve. Our future may depend on it. As for our second potential path, it concerns a request made directly to the students of Baldessian. Our organization was founded primarily to study strange and unexplained phenomena the world over. Mysterious relics and ruins, arcane disturbances, and so forth. Compared to our more isolationist Sharlayan colleagues, we have strong connections overseas, namely with scholars and academics who share our passion for the unknown. The request in question comes from one such acquaintance, Nadana, an alchemist residing in distant Thavnair. Her missive describes the sudden appearance of a tower, and the subsequent summoning of what I can only assume is a lunar primal. In response to this threat, the satrap of Radzat-Han, the individual who governs the city-state, has instructed the alchemists to find a means to deal with the spire.
The artisans of that land are heirs to an ancient tradition, one rather unlike that of their Uldan counterparts. 'Tis possible, nay, probable, that they have gleaned truths unattainable by Eorzea or her Far Eastern allies.
They do, in fact, appear to have a strategy in mind, though it will require further research. To that end, they have requested an introduction to a capable warrior shielded by the blessing of light.
That's me.
Assuming we divide our forces to pursue both of Kral's lines of inquiry, then having you join the group heading to Thavnair would seem the obvious choice. But the investigation in Sharlayan is of vital importance as well. Equal, I think, to the Thavnairian one, given that the fate of the world may hinge on the results of both.
Oh. Am I get to... Can I choose?
Yes, it is quite the quandary. Though it is a great imposition and an altogether too common one, our efforts would be more likely to succeed were you to lead the charge on both fronts.
Oh, I'm gonna get to choose. What do I want to know? I really want to know what the heck is going on.
You are
in
indeed
Sharlayan.
our champion. As to which task to tackle first, we will defer to your decision. Let us next decide how everyone else might best be assigned. As for myself, I shall continue what I've begun in Sharlayan. I should also like to steal the services of an Archon or two.
and thereby gain access to a greater range of reading material. I will help with that.
Probably
Allow me to
someone
offer
can
my
go,
assistance.
right?
I have some small amount of experience in the field of research.
The twin staying here.
Alize and I would also like to help, if you would have us.
Okay.
Anything to understand even a fraction of what our father and the Forum might be thinking.
Of course! The more the merrier.
Right. The rest of us will make the journey to Thavner. Thoughts? Objections?
I passed through Thavner on my way to infiltrate the Empire, and though I'm not qualified to give a guided tour, I did gain a sense of where things lie.
I'll be happy to have you along then. So for this group, it will be you, me, and Urianger.
Give me a moment afterwards, and I'll supply you with all the details of Nadana's request. Consider this hall our rendezvous point once our respective tasks are complete. May our investigations prove fruitful.
Alright, let's do this. Let's go. Because I really want to know what the heck is going on in the forum. Because obviously, they're hiding something. Whether it is... You said that the world wasn't going to end. And is that something they know? Or is that something they're saying? If it's something they actually know, are they like prepping for the actual end times? Are they doing anything about it? Or are they just... Because I don't know. What would be more important? Because right now it seems like it's the end times. But they, even with their conflicting factions in the forum in Sharlayan, it was a unanimous vote not to help us. I just need to know. I just need to know. Gra, what do you think? Our tour of the city was a pleasant distraction. I feel more ready now to tackle the challenges of the day. Yes. The process by which the forum members are elected is fair and equitable. Neither wealth nor social standing offers any advantages to the prospective candidate. The fairly elected are no Master Otoya, still found them all to be insufferable. I still don't understand how the vote could be unanimous. What could possibly convince them all to turn their backs on the Eurasia? Exactly. Alize knows what I'm thinking. Alize. And the forum is intent on concealing its intentions and accuracy. Investigation will avail us little, I suspect. We'll need to dig deeper and with the greatest of care. They're like a secret society. Suspect Thavner, had I known earlier, I would have considered more suitable attire. Though I have read much on the subject of Ratzat Han, this visit shall be my first. It will be interesting to see how the Hanish mean to contend with the tower, different as their magical and technological disciplines are. Alright. We're doing Sharlayan first. Krau is intent on uncovering the reason behind the forum's inexplicable behavior. An unsettling change has come over Sharlayan, but together we will divine the underlying cause for the forum's callousness. As I mentioned before, however, questioning the counselors directly is a fruitless endeavor. They seem to have already come to a consensus as to what and how little they're willing to divulge. Which is why I began scouring Sharlayan's archive of historical records for any hint of a connection to the final days. Suffice it to say that the progress has been slow. There are only so many dusty pages one can skim in a day, and now that I have this band of willing reinforcements, the search should proceed all the swifter. Let us reconvene outside the Numenon. shall we? Exit the annex to the right and you'll find the archives of the western edge of the woods. What if Sharlayan has an Ascian in its ranks? But not the Ascian that's summoned Zodiark, but it had an Ascian that is in support of Hydaelyn. And so they know more about the end of days from that Ascian. And they're working with that one against Zodiark? Maybe? Is that too simple? I don't know. I'm just throwing out stuff. My directions were easy to follow. I hope. In any case, you stand now before the doors of the Numenon, Sharlayan's grandest collection of books and tomes. The building is actually only an entrance, and one of many of that, for the archives of Numenon extend deep beneath the surface like the roots of a tree. The vast halls of the great global library pale in comparison to Numenon's endless maze of subterranean chambers. Any citizen of Sharlayan is free to enter and peruse its shelves. Well, most of its shelves. Only Archons are afforded access to certain restricted vaults. Dispatch Stola and Araha to investigate those. Meanwhile, Alice and Alphino will help me continue my search through the stacks open to the general public. Your status presents more of a problem. As a non-citizen, you're only permitted to browse the first floor here at the entrance. Even so, there should be a number of books which touch upon Sharlayan history or foreign policy. Your task will be to find and study the relevant publications. I promise you, a working knowledge of those subjects will make it far easier to spot the sort of clues we're looking for. Let us be about it, shall we? I told the others to meet us at the stone benches over there once they found some promising tome. Happy reading. The title Inspiring reads an introduction to heavens. Read the book. If we ever gaze at the skies above the contemplated the mysteries contained therein, speak not of shifting cloud patterns, but of the vastness beyond the sun and the... What if I were to tell you that the eternal constellations were arranged differently in the distant past? The book is on the wrong subject. Search for works which contains details of the form or mention the history of Sharlayan. Wow. I thought it was an actual story thing. The title is fine. Reads Forever 20 Summers. That doesn't sound right. What does this one say? I need it on the forum. The voice of a growing city. This sounds like it might do something. The years which followed the founding of Sharlayan, civic policy and other matters of import were decided at the Ecclesia, a public forum at which every citizen was eligible to speak. As populations grew, however, the format became increasingly impractical. The larger number of participants gave rise to even longer debates, resulting in insignificant delays of vital questions. Various measures were introduced in an attempt to curtail protracted discussions, but in the year 201 of the 6th Astral Era, it was ultimately decreed that Sharlayan would transition to a new form of governance. The nation would be now led by a body of 99 members, citizens chosen from amongst their peers by means of a nationwide vote. Thus was the forum, as we know it today, conceived and created. Okay. Stewards of Wisdom. That sounds right. In the chaos of the 6th Umbral Calamity, Archon Neonkremph, founder of Sharlayan, bore witness to the madness and savagery of men brought to the brink of despair. On raising a settlement on an island in the northern empty, he instructed his people thus: renounce the ways of war and pursue enlightenment through knowledge and reason. The Sharlayans took to heart the words of their savior and thenceforth served as stewards of wisdom. Upon a foundation of accumulated learning, they built a homeland unlike any other, a nation born from strength of mind rather than strength of arms. With knowledge of economics came shrewd trading. With knowledge of agriculture, bountiful crops. Engineering brought wells and sewers, ending squabbles over water. Wealth of expertise could be battered for wealth and coin. And the more their wisdom spread throughout the world, the more mankind as a whole would thrive. And so it was that, no matter the trials and tribulations of the age, citizens of Sharlayan would live by their founders' teaching, for the sake of a better tomorrow, for the sake of a brighter star, that they would eschew the tools of war and with knowledge deliver the world. Wouldn't they be seeking to teach other people this knowledge? They're relatively closed off from everything. Story of Sharlayan. Definitely this one. Long, long ago, on an island in the Northern Sea, there thrived a Rodigan man by the name of Nurnkreft. Nurnkreft was a student of astrology. He divined that a flood of terrifying proportions would soon sweep over the lands of Eorzea. So was that he built a gigantic ship, assembled the crew, and set sail for that imperial realm. The flood arrived as foretold. To their horror, the strangely churning waters drove the people towards the ocean. It was there, however, that Nurnkraft's crew hauled them aboard his ark. But the danger is not past. A towering wave approached, threatening to smash the vessel to pieces. With only moments to spare, Nurnkraft wove a mighty spell of teleportation and shifted the entire ship to safety atop Albanath's spine. Refugees from surrounding regions huddled alongside them, but it was not long before disputes over the dwindling supply of food led to violence and bloodshed. Saddened by the sight, Nurnkraft gathered him and his crew and his grateful passengers, abandoned the ark to those reddened peaks. They journeyed to the coast, where they built a new ship, intent upon returning to the northern seas. They landed on the beach of an island and settled upon that very spot. That summit prospered and grew, and in time became the city of Sharlayan we live in this day. You gain fundamental understanding of Sharlayan history, foundation, and the form. Head outside to the rendezvous point and await your companions. Sorry, were you waiting long? Nah. I was reading lore. I wanted to make sure I borrowed the last few promising volumes. Alphino and Crow should be along shortly. I was delayed in similar fashion. As far as I could see, no titles in the Archon stacks mentioned the final day specifically, so we have no choice but to start with tangentially relevant tomes, even that. At present, the plan is to skim through as quickly as we dare, share our discoveries as we make them. It would have been nice to invite everyone to the estate, plenty of comfortable places to read, and a ready supply of hot tea. Oh, I was always quite fond of reading outside. It was not about the little pleasures, is it? You miss your home. It's been difficult. After our arrival, we managed to speak with one of the family servants and asked how things were. Seems our dear father has instructed the staff that even if Alphino and I were to return to Sharlayan, we're not allowed to cross the threshold. Oh, snap. Hard measure indeed. I hope that our efforts to understand his position and that of the Forum will perhaps lead to the reconciliation. We'll mend this rift one day, I'm certain of it. What of you, Graha? Have you been to visit your family, or do they not live here in the city? Well, my situation is also somewhat complicated. I was raised in Sharlayan, yes. I was born rather further away. Southern reaches of Ilsabard. In fact, for generations my people have dwelt in Corvos, the coastal region opposite the islands of Thavnir. The Elegans founded a city in that fertile land, and by ship brought in the subjugated tribes of the Makote to serve as laborers. Of course, the massive earthquakes of the fourth Umbral calamity brought an end to the Empire's reign, and when the fifth calamity froze the sea solid, many of the tribes still living in Corvos braved the journey back to Eorzea. My ancestors, however, chose to remain, that they might prevent the remnants of Allegan technology from being something misused. Yes. Isn't Corvus under Garlean rule? For the past 50 years, yes. Some semblance of local culture remains, as is the case for most imperial provinces, but Garlemald renamed the region Locus Ammonius. When I was a boy, a nearby town came under jurisdiction of an illustrious imperial family, the nobles of House Darkness. This is the music that played when Graha was dying, or getting turned into crystal. That's all I remember it from. House Darkness demonstrated a singular interest in elegant civilization, so my tribe was forced to consider a plan of action. For some time already, voices have been raised in favor of abandoning our ancient customs after all. The Allegan Eye no longer passed to our eldest children as reliably as it once had. Fear of discovery eventually tipped the scales, and the decision was made to bury our ties to the knowledge and traditions of Alec. As the last child born with the Allegan Eye, I was given over to the custody of friends and the students of Beldessian, who had me registered as a Sharlayan citizen. I never even considered. Forgive me. It's an unkind question. Even Thancred was taken aback by Archon Louis Sois, was he not? Stories of adopted waifs. What is this word? And rescued orphans are more common among Sharlayans than you may think. Yet regardless of our origins, we are all provided with an equal opportunity to learn, and with sufficient percepticity, we outsiders can even earn the vaunted title of Archon. This is exactly why I have love for this country, and why I wish it to remain a nation of which its citizens can be proud. Hear, hear. Another good reason to get to the bottom of the Forum's stubbornness, aside from trifling matter of impending doom. Jesus, while we try to make some headway into these books, you know. Our company should be arriving any moment now. Okay. That should be good for this section. Blah blah.